Hey everybody, how's it? Aloha, good morning. This is Geebz here. Decomposer Lounge, decomposing your favorite tracks, pulling back the layers and dissecting Mr. Bungle. My ass is on fire. I just had to go with that. There was about 4 or 5 different series of people asking me to do this on my 30-day countdown, of which this is number 12 on my way down to number 1. So here's Mr. Bungle. My ass is on fire coming right up. I want to thank you guys for helping me with this. This has really been the super funnest thing, most unexpected, super coolest fun things that has ever happened to me. Seriously, I mean, just doing a reaction almost exactly a year ago just for fun and turning into this really super great journey for me. You guys teaching me so much about these genres and experiencing it for the first time has been so cool. So like Mr. Bungle, and there was another band that also really, clowncore, very, unique styles and genres, and I think clowncore also took me to a band called Knower, or Known? Is it Known or Knower? Either way, none of this would ever happen had I not started this channel, so thank you. All right, guys, you know the jig, right? Does not support my channel, these commercials and these ads if they run, so if you want to support me, go ahead and buy me a cup of coffee. The link is where? It's down below. A lot of people are drifting over to the Patreon, and I want to thank you for that. If you don't want to buy me a cup of coffee, but you want a little something for your money, just check out the Patreon. And even if you come in just for 1 month and hang out, gee, all right. Also, the link for Spotify, Mr. Bungle, My Ass is on Fire, will be down below, as well as for the links for the headsets. And even my Newsboy cap. Gee-hoo, all right. Let's do this. My Ass is on Fire by Mr. Bungle. Not mine, but by the band. All right, let's do this. All right. All right, well, I mean, obviously this is probably as experimental, a la Frank Zappa, but more contemporary that I've ever heard. And it's funny that I say that because I'm getting ready to do a Frank Zappa track on my Patreon for one of my members there. And as I was kind of reminiscing through some of the tracks that I did know of Frank Zappa, this automatically, it just jumped out at me as being that progressive in this experimental approach. There's so many different elements in there, but keeping it, notwithstanding tempo changes and very unique rhythmical arrangements, these use of the muted horns and everything that goes along with it, very experimental, but very extremely creative, extremely creative. Now, I'm not getting into the lyrics, obviously, because I'm so entranced with what they're doing in the compositions that, well, 2 minutes, almost 2.5 minutes of me going through and not even stopping, because I was trying to wrap my head around something long enough to get into it. But even though they didn't allow me to settle in, like that last riff section, I went, my God, they went from this like full-on experimental kind of, you know, acidy kind of peyote bud kind of start and everything like that. And then they went and they shifted like they kind of downshifted a little bit into a separate little genre. Then they got into, excuse me, then they got into what was more of a more modern power rock kind of vibe, all of this channel. And and I'm going, all right, here we go. We're settling in. And just when I think we're settling in, we're not settling in. So this is definitely, like I may have said earlier, this is a peyote moment. So let me go back a little bit. Let's keep going.
You fucking look at me! Don't fucking look at me! It's beyond my control! It's beyond my control! It's beyond! I'm gone!
Every time I feel like I want to stop, I feel like I'm going to just completely miss something because it's turning around so fast. This is, okay, for lack of a better word, and I'm just going to use an old man term, this is just absolutely bitchin'. I mean, it's extraordinary. You know, first the theater of the mind that paint, because I write music by pictures sometimes. There's some kind of psychological issue, or no, some kind of thing that people call that, but when I listen to music, I see images and stuff like this, and this reminds me of, if you've ever been to a circus and you go to that house where it's got mirrors, and then you turn this way and it's got this, and you turn this way and it's got this, you never know what's coming around the corner. That's how I feel listening to this, which is a good thing because nothing ever repeats itself. There was one phrase that did go back and repeat itself, which I can't even tell. It doesn't sound like there was a core hook anywhere at this, and I don't care. Meaning, to hell with, like, you know, a standard song structure, obviously, with this. But each segment in of itself is a hook bomb. And it's just, it's absolutely mind-numbing. That super funky section, you saw me, like, double Egyptian bob head going, you know, which I'm not, oh. I'm a push puppet, man. I'm just falling apart at every turn. Just insane rhythmical arrangements. Each one of these little passages or segments that we've turned into has had such an incredibly unique rhythmical arrangement. You know, the musicianship, let's not even talk about that. You can't pull that off unless you're great musicians. And I can't imagine what it was like to write this. Excuse me, I don't know if it was the band that did it or if it's an individual. Kind of does remind me a little bit of what I just got through doing a couple days ago, kind of a Primus style. I'm hearing a little bit of that kind of creative influence. Not saying that like I hear Primus in this. It does, but there is that kind of way out there creative stuff with Primus that I'm learning, I'm experiencing for the first time, and I'm associating it with this because it is that out of the box and that, but yet that powerful. You know, so I'm sorry, I'm just going on about this, but I am so digging the ride on this, and now it sounds like I'm about to get into it sounds like every time I'm thinking, okay, let me talk about something, I'm pulled in, and it's like a complete different genre shift. It's bizarre. I don't know how to put. I don't have the words. I don't think to articulate. Or maybe I have. Maybe this has been such a chop suey of words. Maybe it truthfully does articulate correctly how absolutely insanely cool this track is.
Excuse me, I am lost. Please help me.
对不起，我迷了路，请你帮忙。
Will there be anything else, Mr. Bungle?
No, that's fine, Carl. Thank you.
So you see, Mr. Bungle, Philip's fucking up your whole campaign. He's totally incompetent. Sleeper X commercials will be laughed off of television if you approve his campaign.
Well, that's very interesting. I never thought too much of Philip, now that you mention it.
And I'm starting my own agency, Mr. Bungle. I could do a 100% better job than that turkey.
I'll bet you could. What you say is very interesting. In fact, you're very interesting.
Oh, Mr. Bungle, I didn't know you were interested. And you will give me your account for my new agency?
Later. I mean, we'll talk business later. Right now, I want to make love to your beautiful, beautiful body.
Okay, I'm sorry, but I just was absolutely blown away by that. Now, first, you guys got to help me with this because I am not familiar. Was there a character named Mr. Bungle from like some way back, like TV days, like in the 50s or something, or if it wouldn't surprise me though that if this was actually that last bit of talking that we just listened to, if that was actually part of the production of the song, because that's to me what this song was about. You know, that last bit, which was just heavy, and just the hacking and the screaming and stuff was actually louder than the mix of the music, to the point where that took over my listening focus on that, and it's like hitting the glass ceiling of a nightmare, the energy of it. But the theater of the mind that this song created for me was unbelievable. And I'm not saying that I was like cycling through my own little nightmare and stuff, but I was like, at one point I'm trying to imagine what it took to compose something like this. You know, obviously whether it was done in chunks, and, you know, I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall on this. I think most likely, and you guys will probably have to guide me through this, but like I'm gonna have to probably spend a little more time with Mr. Bungle to get more involved in what their discography and what they are as a band and what they shoot for, and that more super eclectic experimental rock, prog rock, metal, and everything that I just heard, with those great combinations of the brass. You know, it sounded like mostly saxophones were going in there, doubled and muted and stuff like that. But and some of those bass lines in there, I can't pin one. This is what makes this difficult for me, is because you know, within a song and stuff like that, when I'm listening, sometimes I'm listening to a track and then it'll repeat itself. I could say something here, and then it repeats itself, and I can bring it back up and say, hey, did you hear what you heard over here? Is the same thing you heard here? This is what they're doing. With this, I don't have any opportunity whatsoever to do that, and actually, that's a great thing for me. And it does kind of tax a little bit of my ability to absorb so many things at once on this capacity, you know, as what I'm doing here on the channel, and trying to find things to break down. But when there's too many things to break down, I just have to do what I just did and just give you a complete from here, you know, kind of a reaction. Anyhow, thank you so much for my ass is on fire, not my ass is on fire, but suggesting this. Thank you so much for hanging out on the channel. I got another one coming for you a little later this afternoon. I'm going to have to double up on a few. I'm trying to get through as much of these as I can before my 1 year anniversary, where I do my big super finale with Tool, and then I do almost a month off I'm going to take. So, but I'll tell you more about that later. Thank you guys so much. Have a crazy cool day. Stay warm if you're cold. You know, storms out there already in that part of the world, in the country. You know. So anyhow. I'm still, and it's morning. Like, could you imagine hearing this at 5:30 in the morning? This is a song, and I react to it. All right, guys, take care of yourself. Thank you so much. Aloha. All right.